Here, and once again it is time for a Dadbod to Daddy training vlog. Today was chest and back day. I've decided to bench a little bit heavy today. I like to come in and do this sometimes. A lot of times I've been doing 10 plus reps only on the bench, but I like to come in and just put 315 on and try to get some reps with it to start off, which I did today. Now, keeping in mind, yes, I have got more reps in the past before my cut, but I'm also flat back. Gripping it all the way to pretty much the edge. So super wide grip, flat back, no wrist wraps, no arch. So again, 315 for a triple, all paused, I'll take it. So after that, I just pretty much am supersetting chest and back on this day. One of the reasons I do like to do, if I'm going to have an arm day every week, is to do chest and back together, is because I can come in and superset it. I can get a lot higher work density because it's opposing muscle groups, just like on the arm day. It lets me get a lot of volume in a short period of time. So I like to come in and just superset all my chest and back stuff because they don't necessarily interfere with the recovery. So just do a little 10-pound plate on and knocked out 3 sets of 10 on wide grip pull-ups. I might have got an extra rep here or there, but right at about 10 is challenging sets for me. I don't have more than a rep or so left in reserve when I do that with that weight. So again, for lats, I really like the wide grip pull-ups. I do get, feel like for me, the best lat activation on that, and mainly I focus on that stretch at the bottom. And quite frankly, you get people who don't like the way I perform pull-ups. Usually they don't like the way I do any back work, but I still have a great back. So again, clearly it all works. And again, I'm happy with this style. And I try to point that out. This is the style of pull-ups that many people are going to get the best hypertrophy from. Okay, because of that wide grip, it is going to be harder for a lot of people, particularly longer arms, to get all the way up to the top, but that's irrelevant because it's not really your lats doing that anyways. All right, we're just wanting to go until your scapula pinch together. And once that happens, you're good to go. It's that stretch at the bottom, and then it's training the lats themselves to their full range of motion. And that's, again, a whole other topic. I feel like I've made videos on that. Maybe I should more in the future. That when we're talking range of motion, there are potential ranges of motion on an exercise. There's ranges of motion for joints, and then there's ranges of motion for specific muscles. And I think it's important that we think about those things sometimes when we are training, okay? Depending upon what your goals are. Right, thinking about what we're doing. So for the benching, because I did a heavier set, I don't mind going a little lighter and going above 10 reps on those. So I did a couple sets of 12, all paused with 225. Paused longer on the last rep to make sure it was challenging and I wouldn't be able to get really a 13th. That long pause on that last one when it starts to get hard pretty much finished me off. It takes me to where I don't think I'd be able to get another rep, because it increases the difficulty and intensity of that last rep or so when I'm already really fatigued and close to failure. So it's something I like to do on a lot of my pressing sometimes, just to, again, pretty much ensure that I don't have reps in reserve, make sure that we're getting the deep muscle fibers on the sets. My incline, I did 3 sets of 10 on this. My third set, I messed up and didn't record it. I guess when I hit the button, it only recorded 1 second. So I didn't get the third set on camera, but I did do it. I swear I did it. We really did 12 sets for chest today. Again, did supersets here with incline bench, with just bent over barbell rows. I like seal rows more, but sometimes it's such a pain to set it up with my setup because I don't have a dedicated seal row bench. And I really wanted to get this workout done, and it's extra setup and everything else. So I just did a normal bent over row, even though I like seal rows a little more, and I do feel them a little more in my back. And of course there's the low back fatigue on this, but not a big deal. Again, just decided to go ahead and do the bent over rows. Still a great exercise. And so again, if you look at the 3 lat movements I did, these are perfectly fine. These are all low equipment ones, weighted pull-ups, bent over rows, and then one-arm dumbbell rows, but they work. They're so simple, but they work. It's such low equipment too. You can do them pretty much in any regular box gym. But it's just kind of the argument I've always made for back. Back is just not that complicated. It really isn't in terms of back development. And I'm not saying it's not complicated in terms of the different muscles, But realistically, as long as you're doing other hip hinging and deadlifting and stuff, these sort of just basic movements will get you a long way as far as your lat and traps and everything go. They've always kind of been staples for me. I do different types of rows, but just even these three, right? We have a nice balance, right? The weighted pull-ups giving us that vertical pull. We're getting some low back and a little more full body movement with the bent over barbell row, right? And then we're isolating, again, that's a horizontal pull a little bit with the one arm dumbbell rows. I think it's a good combination personally. So with the chest, though, of course, I'm not shooting for just pure balance. I'm really focusing hard on building my upper chest more and more. I feel like it would be good for my overall aesthetics as I continue to cut and focus on physique more than strength these days. Having trained in the past for long periods of time exclusively for strength, I really do need that balance at this point. So everything is really, really incline dominant at the moment. I basically do 3 sets of flat bench, and then everything else is incline. So after the barbell incline, I went to dumbbell incline, and these I got 12 to 13 reps with these, and I'm fully aware 75s are not heavy. This is a lightweight, but I can get them into position, and it's a third exercise. And we don't need dumbbell incline as a main lift. It's something we do once we're pretty deep into a workout. It is a finesse movement, and it's not necessary for you to fling around 100+ pound dumbbells on that unless you are crazy jacked. So again, keep the reps a little higher. Pick dumbbells you can get into position yourself. You can do the full ranges of motion with. And then, of course, I use the same dumbbell for rows, which means I'm going to hit 15+, but it's the same thing. I'm fatigued from there, right? Of course, we can see that little bit of loose skin still there at this angle, but that's okay. Not worried about it. I feel like, again, that has been slowly tightening up as I'm losing body fat, and I'm just going to keep letting it do its thing, and hopefully it eventually gets to where I want it, and if not, it doesn't. I'll just live with it. But these, I ended up doing, I think I got like 13 or 12 or something, and then I might have only got 11 on the third set. But I took the third set to failure, right? I was hoping to get 12. I might have only got 11. But again, we failed on it. So again, it's what we want, considering it was a 9th set for chest, in a good place there, right? And I think this is the 2nd set. So the dumbbell rows are taking a lot more footage because I'm having to switch sides. One arm dumbbell rows, always an exercise I like. I feel like a lot of people perform them, poorly. My opinion, and I'm fully aware there are people who disagree with me, and I've seen people who literally try to teach the form I don't think is as good, to where they want to be way more upright and swing it to their hip instead of bringing it up to the armpit. Again, this isn't an exercise we can really get a lot of range of motion on because of the dumbbell, so use that to your advantage. What's ironic, the same people will, it's kind of funny, I've had people who literally, you'll look at their footage and they're swinging this to their hip and not caring about the range of motion, but the same people will then tell me, I don't like your range of motion on pull-ups. I'm like, well, you're literally taking the small finesse long range of motion exercise and doing a half rep, so I don't know why you're bothered by my pull-ups. But for that movement, it really is just a finesse movement. And I think the ability to get those long ranges of motion on it are really what it brings to the table. So I just kind of always go for that, and I feel a lot more back. And that's the point with that. I personally feel a lot more back when I take those through a full stretch at the bottom and then bring them up to the armpit. Just like on the pull-ups, really where I feel all the lat is that stretch at the bottom. But again, maybe that's probably a factor. People have said, well, you've just got good back genetics. Well, maybe it's because I just have a good mind-muscle connection with my back, right? I just have a good ability to feel what works my back the most, right? And really kind of connect to that. And I suspect that's a factor, right? I suspect that's a factor. It certainly doesn't hurt, right? Certainly doesn't hurt. But I've always built my back on these basic movements: rows, pull-ups. Pretty much been it. and unless we want to count deadlifts. I do, but at the same time I don't. But that's a whole nother topic. And then we finished up with some incline flies. Now that I've gotten my chest used to these higher volume chest days, I'm going to work the incline flies back in some. The first time I did this and hit 12 sets in a workout, the DOMs lasted a week straight. I'm like, that's too much. I'm not adapted. But my carbs are a little higher now. I'm a little more used to the volume. So I'm like, let's go ahead and do that. And of course, it isn't the only chest work. We get 12 sets on this day, but I do some close grip and stuff on my my arm day. So again, there is some overlap there. So overall, my volumes are getting pretty high. We're still less than 20 sets of muscle group unless we start counting benching and all that for arms, because I do have the arm day. But yeah, overall volume is getting nice and high, using it to my advantage while cutting. I want to continue to get leaner, continue to refine my physique. Pretty happy with today's workout though. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.